All right. Welcome back, everybody. Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer, and today we have a very special guest. This is Kayla Matthews, correct?
Okay. Yep.
Perfect. And Kayla is currently is it sales associate, salesperson? What do you prefer?
So Smith Chevrolet likes to call us client advisors because
Ooh.
term sales has a negative connotation, but whatever. Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's actually something that I wanted to talk to you about today. So client advisor. So you currently work at Smith Chevy and Honda in Idaho
Mhm.
Falls, right?
Yes.
And so how long have you been there?
Oh, working on 3 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they must treat you pretty well then, right?
Yes, they're wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Um, so for those of you that are listening, Kayla and I met because I was looking for a vehicle. Actually, at first, I was trying to sell to Smith Chevy and to Smith Honda. Wasn't successful at that, but as a result, I made this great friendship with Kayla, and we talked a lot of like shop as far as sales tactics and dealing with certain customers. I just thought it was a great opportunity to have her on the podcast to talk about the world of car sales, right? So first and foremost, you mentioned something that I've known for a long time. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but usually if you mention you're in sales, a lot of people go, you're in sales. I don't want to talk to you about that. And I'm sure that with your industry being in the car business, when you mention negative connotation, I mean, you guys get the brunt of that, don't you?
Oh my gosh, it's the worst. I had a friend one time years back, was telling me about his car broke down or something. And I was asking him about his car, and he immediately stopped trying to sell me a car. And it's like, it was the first time that ever happened to me because it was like I've always had an interest in cars. Even back when I waited tables, I would have asked the same questions.
Mm.
But now because I was in a different profession, suddenly I'm this enemy, this bad guy. And it's like, no, I'm just curious. I just wanted to know what you're driving and how long you've had it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a weird thing because I remember a long time ago, I was taking a personality test online just for kicks because I do weird things like that. And I actually took this test and it said at the very end, excuse me, at the very end of the test, it popped up and it said, "You are a campaigner." I was like, "What is a campaigner? That's weird." And my father-in-law said something I'm always going to remember. He said, "That's just a nice way of saying that you're a salesperson." I went, "A nice way? Like what?" So, from your standpoint, why do you feel like salespeople get this bad connotation? What is it about sales that makes people go, "Ugh, gross. I don't want to talk to that person"?
A lot of people think that we talk them into something that they don't need. But I mean, I'm sure there are those out there that tend to do stuff like that. But for the most part, we're just advising you on things that we offer. For like your industry, you offer, a solution for the work uniforms and how it's done. It's not a bad thing. All of these places have uniforms, need to have them, sent out, cleaned, taken care of, all of that stuff. Like
Yep.
it's just part of your industry. You know what I mean? Like I'm just offering you a different way to go about it.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
don't want to hear about it, you can tell me you don't want to hear about it, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well, like, it's funny too because I remember one of the first things my dad ever told me about purchasing a car is he was like just remember the car salesperson wants to get you into any car because they have a commission. This is back before I was in sales and had to kind of educate him on how things actually work. But to me, one of the marks of a true salesperson is, and I was thinking about this the whole day as I was preparing myself to talk to you, like ask you certain questions, is I really feel like the mark of a true salesperson is somebody that makes you want to not necessarily buy the product or the service, but to buy from them. And
Mhm.
honestly, and I'm going to pay you a compliment here, you made me want to buy from you just based on our conversations. I mean, like I talked to a whole bunch of other dealerships, I won't mention any other names, but meeting you, like I talked to my wife, I was like, I really want to buy from Kayla because I mean, it seems like you're an honest person, you're genuine, right? The integrity's there. I mean, you worked extremely hard on spending time with me to take me on the test drive and to show me the vehicle, which, by the way, we love. We just have to wait till the commission comes in and we can actually come back in and buy it. That is if it's still
No,
there.
you're fine. Well, that's just part of it because before, remember how when we started talking vehicles for your wife, it was a third row SUV. And
Mhm.
now you're looking at this Chrysler Pacifica, which is completely different than
So
what we were
different.
looking for, but it fit all of it fit what you were looking for. You didn't realize that's what you were looking for until you found it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's the job. That's what, you know, comparable in both industries. I'm just trying to fit your needs.
Right.
Just tell me what's going on. I'm only here to help. If we don't find anything, we don't find anything. But I just want to make sure that you're taken care of.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not anything to be frightened of. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's those in the industry that do give the bad name, that do try to push and do,
Sure.
aren't patient, aren't understanding, um, which is really hard because for the most part, the industry has changed to that, the best salespeople actually listen, actually care.
Right. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing too, is I remember, and before we get off track about stuff that I've gone through or my experience, because this show is all about you today, so I want to make sure that you talk more than me. Uh, so, but yeah, like I remember going through sales training with the company I have now, and I think we had this conversation before, but just to make it public, with the company I'm at now, Universe, the sales training is so detail oriented. It's very strict. I mean, you go through 13 weeks of certification in front of your sales manager, in front of your regional sales manager. You do a mock account, you do a mock proposal, you go over objections, all this stuff to expect in the field. And then when you get out there, you actually feel like you know what you're doing. Whereas other companies
Right.
I've been to have said they brought me a tub of information, tub of folders that are full of reading material, and they go, "Here you go, kid, memorize this, and good luck." And it's like, whoa, hold on. So having said that, let's talk more about your history. So you mentioned that you were in the restaurant industry before, correct?
I was.
Were you in service? Were you cooking? What were you
I
doing?
waited tables.
Waited tables. Okay. It's
I waited
surprising.
tables.
It's really surprising how many salespeople come from that industry. So how did you go from that to sales?
It's, oh gosh, really long transition, but it really makes sense. It's just you're talking to people, you're comfortable in front of people. Um, I know it sounds weird, but basically you're okay performing for people because you are, at their table. You're working for tips, which is essentially working for your commission. You know what I mean? If I give you a good enough experience, you're going to reward me for that.
Sure.
Similar as a car sales. I mean, the process is a lot different. I always complain, um, way back in the day, way back in the day when I was waiting tables, I had a lot of regulars, people that would come to see me as a friend. They'd come and see me once, a couple times a month. Now I sell cars and I don't get to have that same relationship. You build that bond, that trust. You do, find people that you like, and they only buy a car every 2 to 3 years. So it's different, but it's the same. You have to build trust. You have to actually listen to them. Um, make recommendations based on what they seem to like. Back when I waited tables, you got a sense for the people that you were waiting on. There are those that come out and when they start ordering, they just want water, they want no appetizers, they're getting very base. They're probably out on a budget. You still treat them with a really good experience, give them everything that they want, and you're still going to get a fair tip versus if you were to try to upsell them, like, because a lot of restaurants do want you to add like appetizers, alcoholic drinks and everything like that. When you do end up upselling that customer that was, on a $20 food budget, now they have a $35 bill and they have no money left to tip. That stinks.
Yeah.
Same with the
Mhm.
car industry. Hey, I have this family. Okay, your case, for example, I'm about to be the father of 4. We're going to have 6 mouths to feed. I'm on this budget, and this is everything I need within this budget.
Yeah. Well, actually,
If
let me clarify that real fast. So yes, there's going to be 6, but I'm only going to be able to feed 5 of them. So I'm just not going to eat ever again. I'm just going to like, I'll take table scraps. It's all good.
totally fair, totally fair. I know ways to get free food at restaurants if
Oh,
that
see,
helps.
see, that's a whole different podcast we'll have to do. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure,
fun.
like everyone want to know that secret, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, I think that you're absolutely correct in that. I mean, I've never been in the food industry. In fact, I came from teaching martial arts for a living straight into sales. So it was that there were some parallels there, and I won't bore you with the details. Those are all in previous podcasts, and I won't repeat myself. But um, so what was like your first first like real like sales title, sales job out of being a waitress?
It was car sales. I sold Toyotas.
Oh wow.
Yes, I went from waiting tables to the parts department at an RV dealer, and then that didn't work out how I was hoping, and ended up getting a car sales job.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
very
interesting.
different, very different.
I can imagine. And that's kind of a different what's a different industry, but also the turnover rate. I mean, obviously in sales is a very gigantic turnover rate because people experience that freedom. They don't have the discipline or the training in order to make it work. And they end up going looking for something a little bit more quote unquote stable. Right. So, but in car sales, I would imagine the turnover rate is, I mean, it's got to be the highest out of all sales jobs, correct?
That's actually a really good question. I've never done the research.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out. I'll do the research and I'll post it with this podcast. Uh, but yeah, so going from being a car sales, you probably saw reps come and go all the time though, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, it's funny. And it's really mean. We'll have bets. Um, I really hope nobody that I work with sees this, but there's a young man that was out with COVID for about 2 weeks, and all of us were kind of betting on whether or not he was coming back. He's back. He's ecstatic to be back.
Oh,
So,
good.
good news there. But yeah, just stuff like that. Just because he's so new, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this job, sales is not easy to stick with.
Nope, it's not. So, so as far as that goes, I mean, so I'm curious to know from a car salesperson like yourself or a client advisor like yourself. Got it. Have to use the proper titles, right? Um,
Yes, please. Thank you.
from a client advisor, I'm wondering if your struggles in sales are the same as mine. So like in mine's very much a hunter role. So I go out, I prospect, make cold calls, phone blocking. I mean, send out seating packets, bring in donuts, which you've seen me do 100 times into
Mhm.
your workplace, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering, as far as prospecting, as far as getting that customer, are they just walking in off the streets because you guys have the best cars, you get the gigantic American flag, or are you getting leads that you're following up on, you're calling every week? Like what's a typical day in Kayla's life?
Um, all of the above. Yes.
Okay.
So you get the fresh walk-ins, people just there looking. And there's actually research been done with the rise of the internet. People tend to only visit 1.6 dealers before buying a car. So that means if they don't buy when they're physically there, they're buying at the next guy. So that is typically my one and only chance is when they're in front of me. If it's a fresh walk-in, then you kind of collect, because not everyone's going to buy right there when they walk in. You
Sure.
collect names, information. You continue to follow up with them until they do end up finding something, or hopefully come back to your dealership over something they love. There's now internet leads. People will go online, check out vehicles that are on our lot, and we'll snag those up, give them a call, try to get them into the store. I I've failed lately, but when I first started, I was very, very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I did a lot of YouTube videos, just something to get my name out there, to get attention, to say, hey, this is me, this is what I do, call me. And all of those things kind of combined are what give you your daily activities, I guess, what you're looking for, the daily phone calls, the videos that you do of specific cars. You're kind of always on stage. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like
Oh yeah.
anywhere you go, someone is going to know who you are or what you do, especially here in Idaho Falls, where it's such a small town.
Mhm.
So you're constantly on you're constantly on.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what's his name? Grant Cardone. He talks about not competing with the competitors in your market, but dominating your market and making sure that when people think about cars, they think about Kayla, right? Or if they think about
Yes.
uniforms, they think about me. Like that's what
Yes.
I that's ultimately what I want to have happen, is for people to think about me first, to be put up there first. We have kind of a metric. I'm sure that you've seen this too. Um, I first saw it on LinkedIn, but somebody had shared a post about stats, and it said you have a 2% chance of closing a deal on the first visit, and then from the second visit it goes up to 3%. The fifth visit goes up to like 7%, all the way up to like the 8th to 12th visit, where finally it was like 80% chance of closing the deal, right? And that spoke
Mhm.
volumes, because then the opposite side of that was only 50% of sales reps actually follow up with a customer before they get told no one time. I thought that was shocking, right? But it's been true, because like I keep track of my competition in the area, and I know that if I go back more than they do, if I bring back something of value every single time, I'm going to have a better shot of earning that business, right?
Right.
Like, and then
Right.
to your point about how many times a person can visit the dealership before they actually buy. So I think I'm kind of an outlier, and that might be because I'm a sales guy. Like I understand how the game's played. Just to give you an idea, so my my wife currently drives a 2014 Ford Taurus, which I love that car. Hands down, best car I've ever driven. Everybody talks crap about Ford. Ford's got some pretty awesome vehicles nowadays with technology and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. But I went to two different dealerships back and forth for at least a week. Like physically came in a visit with the sales guys and actually went through numbers, negotiated, got up, walked away from the table, which is the quintessential thing that everybody says they should do is, well, I'm going to get up and leave and I'll get the deal I want, right? Not always the case, but in this particular instance, I mean, it was the last day. We're about to sign paperwork up in Yuba City, California, and the dealership in Roseville. I called them and said, look, I'm going to sign paperwork on this vehicle. You and I both know I want that one because it's black, right? Because I love Batman, and it's kind of the Batmobile. But I was
Gotcha.
like, but I told him, I said, look, if you call me back in 2 minutes with the deal I want, I'll drop what I'm doing here. I'll drive out there and I'll buy the car. He called me back in 30 seconds. So we left there at 10 o'clock at night. We got there at 11. We left the dealership at 12 o'clock after doing all the paperwork for the vehicle, right? So, but yeah, to your point, the average person probably is not going to go through that hassle, because then it becomes this gigantic game of negotiation. It adds stress. Like I helped my mom buy her car. We left the dealership the first time. She's like, "That was so awkward. Can I just go buy a car now?" I'm like, "No, mom, just chill." So, but as far as that goes, so tell me, because I think when people think to negotiate, they don't usually come to the table to negotiate with very much, right? It's either a low credit score, there's no money down, there's negative equity in the vehicle. So give me the keys to the castle, Kayla. Like if I was going to purchase a vehicle from you, if I'm going to be your next customer, which I probably will, and I come in, I sit down with you, I'm looking for a vehicle that's, let's say it's $20,000, $22,000. I have no down, credit score is decent, let's say, right? No trade in. What am I looking at as far as walking out of there?
22,000. Oh, that's going to vary. All so everyone there's just so when you trade in your vehicle, we actually pay you money for that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the negotiation. They've done their research, the book, NEDA, whatever, and nobody wants less for their vehicle than it's worth. So
Sure.
typically, you give them top dollar, Kelly Blue Book, NEDA, whatever it is, but then we have to turn around. Part of retailing a car, we turn around and pay a technician to go through it and fix a certain amount. So we have a certain dollar amount that it's worth fixing the vehicle that we can still make money after retailing. And it's going to vary depending on the piece. For example, in my industry, Smith Chevrolet, our bread and butter is the Duramax engine. That is a phenomenal truck. They're so easy to sell. When we get them, it's worth putting more money into those because we know we're going to sell them.
Sure.
So what you're looking at out the door, like how much you have to negotiate, is really dependent on how much money they put into the deal. I don't know. It's such a hard. I wish there was a universal dollar amount. They'd be like, don't go out of that $2,000. But sometimes they bought a vehicle rate, and then the transmission 2 weeks into having it. So now they dumped all this money into fixing the transmission, but now you have a car that the tranny is perfect and wonderful and this great car, but now there's only $500 after we retailed it that we're making money on it.
Right. I think that's
I
the
don't know.
thing that people don't understand. That's why I'm glad that we're talking about this, because like I've heard people go, "Oh, I've got this classic car," and by classic they mean it's like a 1990. It's not special, and they'll bring it into a dealership, or like although they'll talk to me and ask me, "Hey, how would you negotiate this?" And I go, "You're better off just keeping that thing." I mean, you could bring it in, but the thing is, the dealership has to make money because it is a business, right? And that's the thing that people don't get, is that you still have to make money on that vehicle after you purchased, or I mean after you traded. Let me clarify. Dealership has to make money on the vehicle after the person trades it in. So the repayment, what it's worth, is not going to be as much because of the fact you still have to make a profit. Is that correct? Right? Or was I totally confusing? Uh-oh. Oh no. It happened again. Kayla, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're totally frozen and I can't hear you anymore. Oh, the second time in a row, guys. Oh no. Oh, well, that is unfortunate. I'm going to pause the recording this time, and we're going to try to get Kayla back here in just a couple seconds. Uh, man, Kevin, if you're watching, don't feel bad because this happens to other people apparently. So let me go ahead and go back. I will pause the recording and we'll see if we can get her back. Okay, stand by. All right, can you hear me? Uh-oh, I did it again. We got her back though, folks. We got her face on the screen. She might cut out again. I don't know. We'll see. Hold on, I'll pause it again. We'll see if we can get her back. Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. And we have Kayla back, everyone. She made it. Yay!
Oh gosh.
You know what's funny is if you watch the previous episode of my podcast with Kevin Ludlow, the same thing happened. And it was so funny because I didn't know how to pause the recording then. So it was literally just me going, how do we get him back? Oh no, guys. Ugh, what's gonna happen? Anyways. But no more. Not on this show, because we're as you can tell by my setup, which is really just my closet. We are a high level production here, people. High level.
Which is how most productions are. You just get a
Right.
little room of stuff.
Exactly. So
Go away, Toby. Go. Go.
so just to
He's
jump
so needy. But you're sitting. Huh?
that's all good. That's all right. So just to jump back into
Anyways.
what we were talking about. We were talking about trade-in value, right? And how people as I
We're talking
stump.
about how to feel like you got a good deal. Like, what is the keys to the kingdom is what you were saying. And
Yes.
there's no secret number. There's no, if you get this, you won. Um, Basically what it is, as long as you feel good about the deal and you feel like you're with someone that you trust, like you were saying earlier, you want to come and shop for me because you felt like I was honest with you, like I would take care of you. We've maintained a relationship. Yes, you haven't purchased your van yet, but you know me well enough to know that once you do, I'll still be there after.
Right. Or that even if that van isn't there anymore, it's so weird to say van. I'm just gonna say Pacifica because it sounds nicer. Um,
Okay.
but even if it isn't there anymore, like the way that we interacted, I'm like, you know what? I want to go back to Kayla. I want to talk to her. And there's been very few salespeople that I've talked to, whether it be in cars or whether it be in multi-level marketing stuff. I mean, there was a guy. I still have I forget his first name now because we haven't talked in a while. But he actually, I got approached in I'm in Barnes and Noble, um,
Mm-hmm.
by this guy because I was in the business section looking for like sales books. And there was this guy that came up to me and he's like, "Hey, like I see you're looking at sales. Are you in business? Like, what do you do?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I do, uniforms, textiles, whatever." And we started talking. Turns out he was with Amway, right, which is like a multi-level marketing thing, which I
Oh,
typically would shy away from.
God.
Here, but here's
Okay.
the thing: like, I didn't want to join his team, but he made me want to purchase the product, and I was like, "Can I just purchase the product?" And had he been a little bit more like keen on the product itself and not the joining thing, I would have been like,
Right.
let's do business, right? So, anyways, not that Amway's a bad company. I'm not saying that. Multi-level marketing is just not my thing. Tried it in the past, thought I would be good. It's just not my business model. But um, one thing that I think people lose sight of, and I was kind of saying this before we cut out, is when you come in with a trade in, right? And correct
Mm-hmm.
me if I'm wrong because I'm not an expert. I don't want to sound like I am. But if you come in with a trade in, you Kelly Blue Book that trade in. Let's say it's at $5,000. That doesn't mean you're going to get $5,000 for that vehicle because you guys ultimately got to make a profit on that vehicle too, right?
So my favorite thing, my manager, he has a saying. He says, print off your Kelly Blue Book, bring it in, hold it up next to your vehicle. That's how much Kelly Blue Book says your car is worth. Now drive a tank over that car. Hold that piece of paper up. That's still how much Kelly Blue Book says your car is worth. It's a guide.
Right.
Kelly Blue Book, NADA, or their guides to help you feel like you're not being taken advantage of. And that was the big thing to Kelly Blue Book, because back in the day, car dealerships could just kind of put whatever number they wanted to on cars, and you had no way of knowing if this was a good deal. Like you said, if this was a good deal, if you were getting taken advantage of. So that's where the rise of Kelly Blue Book came, because they would kind of give you guidelines on an idea, basically mileage, condition, things like that, all go into that number, that figure. And yes, when you go in, sometimes Kelly Blue Book or NADA, we think that they're below. Like I say, in our area, in our industry, in Northwest, Duramax, the Duramax engine is priceless. Almost, they're wonderful. They're our bread and butter. We sell tons of them. So a lot of times we will put more money into a Duramax over, like, say, a sedan, a Toyota Corolla, Chevy Cruze, those kind of things, because more people are seeking out the Duramax than they are those little sedans.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, it's more what people are going to pay for. So yes, Kelly Blue Book, NEDA, great guides. I love someone that does their research, goes out, looks those things up. Are those always 100% accurate? Absolutely not. No one can be 100% accurate in anything.
Right.
But it gives you a good idea on how, going back to feeling good about the deal. They gave me what Kelly Blue Book said my car was worth, so I feel good about that.
Mm.
But then turn around and you see him selling it for like $7,000 more.
Yeah.
Now do you feel good about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, It's choosing to do business with someone somewhere that you feel like they're going to take care of you. Like they're going to give you a fair deal regardless of what Kelly Blue Book, what the industry says, MSRP, all those things. They're all guides. It's all there as suggestions, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay retail, but nobody wants to get taken advantage of. So
Right.
you know who you trust, who you feel is going to give you a fair deal and who's going to take care of you not only during the sale but after.
Yeah. That I think you definitely hit the nail on the head there, because like in my experience and from what, like, as a consumer, right? I mean, my sales hat's off. I'm a consumer now. I'm going to purchase something. I want to purchase something from somebody that I like and I trust and that I feel like is going to give me a good and also a fair deal, right? And in dealing with
Yeah.
customers, typically when I sell a deal, the, usually there's no complaints. The customer loves our product. You know, they like the fact that I recommended them some options, right? Like my thing is good, better, and best. Like I say, this is your good option. This is apples to apples is what you have now. This is your better option. It's going to be a little bit more than what you were hoping to pay here, but then this is your best option. Typically, people lean more towards best options, right? Um, so it's got to be
Right.
different. So here's kind of a sales question to you because I'm genuinely curious. I feel like one of the hardest things in sales to do is create a sense of urgency for the customer. Like the customer needs, I mean, obviously as a salesperson, we want to get paid, right? I mean, we want to get the deal. We want to get as many
Mhm.
deals in a month as possible, uh, because we either want that sales trophy or that sales ring or super unimportant stuff like money, you know,
The accolades we were
right?
talking about the other day. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So as a salesperson in the car industry, how do you go about creating urgency with a customer?
Um, it just depends on the situation. For example, your situation that you're in, you're looking at a pre-owned car. I don't have just a plethora of Pacificas out there. So if you don't get to it soon, it could very well be gone. It could have sold today.
Could
So
have.
there's an attempt at creating a sense of urgency.
Right.
You still have your timeline, you still have your time frame, you still have things that you need to put in place before you can do something.
Right.
So me pushing that too hard is probably not going to go anywhere, going to get either of us anywhere. It's just going to create stress for you. It's going to create this distance between us. You're going to kind of feel bad about not getting it if it does sell. All those fun things. Um, so it's trying to play that right, creating the sense of urgency, but not to the point where you alienate that person. Because whatever time a person decides to buy, it's the right time. Um, do I want you to buy today? Yes. Does it break my heart if you don't? No.
Right.
Do I have goals that I need to beat? Absolutely. Um, but yeah, it's just reminding them that yes, there are a ton of cars out there, but this one that you specifically fell in love with might not be here tomorrow. This rebate on this brand new car won't be here at the end of this month.
Hmm.
Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. Like, and it's one thing I think that you're getting to is, I mean, you're using my situation as an example, which is totally fine. But I think what you're getting to is that you actually take the time to listen to the customer and actually ask questions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like that's important too, because I mean, like I, my biggest account I've ever signed up out here in East Idaho took me 10, 11 months to finally close it. And it wasn't because they didn't want to do business with me. They like me. They like the product. They like the service. But sometimes the timeline doesn't really align. That's why I feel like timing is such a valuable thing. Like, and I think creating a sense of urgency, I think for a lot of people, from what I hear you saying is when you listen to the prospect, you just ask the question, when are you looking to buy this? Like, what's your situation? What's going on? Because ultimately I want to buy
Yes.
today. If I had my way, I'd come in and buy the car right now. Right. But ultimately the timeline isn't
Exactly.
right. But ultimately the timeline isn't we're not in sync in that way, right? I think a large part of it,
Exactly.
and when you think about the sales process as a whole, is if you stay in sync with the customer, when they're here, you're coming up here, they're going down here, you're going like this, and finally that timing meets, boom, this is when they're buying, right?
And you have to be prepared and ready to jump on that perfect timing situation.
Yep.
We'll go to a different example.
Sure.
So we have a phenomenal, we outsource our IT. We have one person at this particular company. Again, I don't want to say names because I don't want to alienate anyone. Um, this particular company who has earned our account, he's gotten to the point where he just basically kept asking us to ask for him and goes above and beyond for our particular store, and he's gotten our account solely. So he is our IT guy through with this company, our rep with this company. He's our guy. And because he earned our business, he wanted to do business with us, and he was constantly coming back. We have a little um, we call it the BDC, the Business Development Center, where we sit on computers, make our phone calls, do all that work. Um, he would constantly come in there and bring up the fact that he and his wife really want, a Crosstrek. We're looking for a Subaru Crosstrek. We only want to do business at Smith Chevrolet, but we want to buy a Subaru Crosstrek. So he tells everyone that would listen to him that he wants to buy this Subaru Crosstrek. And he's been doing this for months and months and months. My dog is driving me crazy. I'm sorry.
You're okay. You're
Um,
good.
He's been doing this for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden I see a Subaru Crosstrek parked on our lot with our tags on it. I'm like, sweet, we have one for sale. I immediately, like no hesitation, text him, Dustin, I have your car, get in here now. And he texts me back and he goes, wow, Kayla, I'm so glad you thought of me. Plans changed. We decided we want to have a family. We actually want an Outback now. Freaking Dustin. Cool. But he was prepared, like he was finally like prepared, like they had decided, back months and months ago, the Crosstrek was perfect. We didn't have it. He only wanted to do business with us because we, take care of him. So a couple days later, customer trades in a Subaru Outback, send him pictures of it, get him in even before we washed the car, even before we inspected it. Him and his wife fell in love with it. They took this car home. And he was going off on me like how grateful he was that I remembered this. Everyone that I work with, because everyone knows this kid, we're all really good friends with him. Everyone was getting super upset with me. Why is he buying from you? Like he's all of our friends. I was like, cool. Didn't you guys hear him when he was saying what he was looking for? Weren't you listening to that? And
Yeah.
I have some coworkers that are like, oh, no, I didn't listen. That was good of you to catch on to that. I was like, yeah, he's been asking all of us for
Mhm.
this car. I just paid attention.
Right.
Same thing happened. I had a guy at Maverick. I would go in my uniform, my Smith uniform, ask me, I need a Traverse. Cool. Sold him a Traverse that we had. One of my coworkers goes, I remember him asking me for a Traverse. Good of you to remember to actually call and text him, get his information, and do that follow up. And
Yeah.
so it's just, it's listening, it's paying attention. Yes, it's the timing. People are constantly looking for what you have to offer if you're paying attention. If you're, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. I think I got off topic, but I'm trying to say the timing thing, the paying attention, listening, it all ties together.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I'm hearing based on what you're saying is obviously look for the opportunity, right? And when people hear the term
Yes.
always be closing, I think what people think that they should do is go and ask people to buy right now, right? And that's not
Yes.
necessarily the case. It's more of like, and that's also a really good advocate and a good reason to prospect every single day. Just talk to people, talk to different people, bring people in, because you could have that customer that says, "Oh yeah, we're ready to go, we're gonna buy whatever." Like I can think of a customer that I have, or a potential customer that I have in Idaho Falls that essentially told me they were ready to go. Like, don't worry about it. We'll get everything signed and sent over to you or whatever. That was 7 months ago. And I'm like, yeah, it might be time to just quit. And I feel like rookie salespeople, they hang on that every word and they go, oh, he told me he wants to buy this car from me. Awesome. I'll just wait for him to come back in. I'll be set. Right. And then they completely
Yes.
neglect everybody else that's coming in off the street and they're looking at vehicles, they're opening car doors, they're looking, they're smelling it. I'm just kidding. That's just me. That's what I do. Because totally sidebar, but new car smell. Some people say they can smell it. Other people say they can't. I'm definitely one of those guys that can smell it. Why can't they bottle that and just like put it in like an air freshener? It's so
I
good.
think I've tried.
It's not the
It's never
same.
quite right. It's
It's
not the
not.
same.
No,
It's
no.
not. It's not. Mine is the used cars. You get into some and they are just delicious, delightful. You're so happy with whoever. I had a kid. Yeah, he was a traveling salesperson for one of the pesticide companies, and he
Hmm.
had strawberry air fresheners. Oh my gosh, I loved showing that car, and I would intentionally
Hmm.
show it to whoever would even give me the time of day, just because I
Yeah.
love the smell.
Yeah.
And then you have others that make you cringe a little, bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, car smell is really a thing.
Yeah.
If anyone is out there listening to this, know that the smells do linger in your car. Take your freaking your McDonald's out of your car. Don't let it
Yes.
just sit and get stale.
No. Yeah.
Oh,
It's so
mm,
funny that like you and I talked about that last time on the test drive. I was talking about how like air conditioning seats can be a blessing and a curse sometimes because sometimes you're
yes,
riding with that person that they haven't changed their underwear for 3 days and you turn it on and it's like,
just
oh,
cycling their scent. Yep,
right. And then you
like
become
that
like a
scent
dog. You roll the
will
window down,
literally.
like, oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Yes, and there are those people that live in that stew and just stew in their car because they're in their car. You're in your car. How much during the day? You know what I mean? I
Oh, all the
understand you.
time.
You're a little bit above average because you're traveling. You're constantly moving around.
Hmm.
But I'm in. With as much as I'm in my car,
Yeah.
smell is important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Keep
a
it
good
clean,
thing. It's a good thing I
classy.
sell air conditioners and like toilet bowl clips. In fact, I do have a toilet bowl clip that is attached underneath my dash, so it permeates through the car. But I'm just like, I'm gonna leave that in there as long as I can. Like anytime I have the option, I buy like air freshener. Like I have a Jiffy Lube one up there right now. The car has to be it. It has to smell good because as a
Yes,
salesperson, if I want to take a customer out to lunch, like they got to jump in the vehicle with me and I got to go and take them out for lunch. And if it smells like death,
yes,
I'm probably not going to get that deal. Right. So, anyways, um, so let me ask you this question. So, as far as career paths go, like obviously, so you're client advisor now. As far as upward mobility, like what's your end game? Like, are you looking to be like a national rep for Chevy? Are you looking to go up in that? Are you looking to go into finance, or what's your
oh
goal?
gosh. So short term goal is to be in the finance department, to have the nice cushy office job where I get to sit behind a desk. Um, Long term, I don't really know, just because I don't know if I want to stay in Idaho Falls. And I like I say, I love the company that I'm with now.
Right.
I have had other car selling jobs, and so many people don't actually like they sit there and claim to care about people and family, and you get in there and realize it's 100% business and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I really am with a company that really does care about family. Like business is important, and yes, it does come first and all that. But if I have to leave and go take care of my kid, I get to go leave and go take care of my kid.
That's awesome.
Um, yes, and how often are you going to find that? So it's so
Very
hard
rare.
to say, oh yeah, I want to be a traveling rep. I want to do all this stuff, or it's because there's so much upward because my company likes to promote within.
Sure.
So which means I can go into finance, I can go be a manager, I can move up in the company that I'm currently in. But it's, trying to decide, do I want to stay in Idaho Falls and stay with this company, which would not be a bad thing. Or, when my kid is done with school, do I want to go travel and see different places, meet different people, have those different experiences. It's yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that
But
goes into it for sure.
exactly. This job gives me that flexibility.
Right.
Um, the skills that I've learned here, I can take to those other places,
Yep.
outside rep, business to business, things like that. I could take it anywhere.
Right. See, and that's the whole point of why I started this podcast, right? And why my podcast is called Stop Interviewing, Start Selling, because like any single time that I was ever employed, which is very, very rare in my life, but back in 2008, 2009, when the housing bubble hit, martial arts wasn't a thing at that point. Everybody was quitting, they were leaving. So I had to go find something. And ultimately, what I did was I just went out and hit the pavement, grabbed like a stack of 100 resumes, passed them out everywhere, asked for the interview on the spot, and then went through the process. And I think being in sales, we kind of have this advantage of being able to talk to people, but not just being able to do that, getting people to like us and also marketing ourselves in a better way than I think the average person can. And that's what I hope people take away from you, Kayla, is that if they're looking to get into sales or looking to get into car sales, right? Don't look at it as a negative thing or put sales people in a negative light, because it makes people money, right? Because of salespeople, other people have jobs, right?
Yes.
I mean, if we don't sell, like if you don't sell a vehicle, if you don't sell vehicles for Smith Chevrolet, they're kind
Then we
of
don't have vehicles to sell. Our mechanics don't have cars to work on.
exactly
We don't,
right.
yeah.
100% right. Now, that's not to say that salespeople are the most important, even though a lot of people think that we are. That's not the case.
I mean, I think that most days.
Absolutely. Well, let me leave you with this, Kayla. Where so you mentioned you had a YouTube channel. Do you still do YouTube channel and all that stuff?
I've backed off on a lot of my social media.
Mm-hmm.
It took up a lot of my time, and it just, I think it was the bouncing around from car dealership to car dealership. There was no real stability that I kind of just didn't really bother with it. Um, Probably something I should probably get back into, because now, like I say, I've been here for about 3 years, but I have gotten to the point where, again, I'm in Idaho Falls,
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't yet gotten overran by Californians. No offense, California. But we still are small enough that word of mouth has been huge.
Sure.
Um, I haven't really needed to do any of that.
Right. So not specifically for like to sell more vehicles is what I'm getting at, but a crate. So like Kevin in my last show, he kind of asked me a little bit about this, about LinkedIn, why I became super active on there. It's really just visibility. And it's not so much because of I want my customers to see me on social media, because I'm not really connected with a lot of my customers, right? I mean, I could be if I could find them, but most of the time they don't have link. I mean, they'll have a Facebook page, but they don't have a LinkedIn page, right? They don't have a YouTube channel or whatever. But a crazy side effect happened with me just about a year ago when I started to get really into social media. And that was somebody in my company told me there's not one person that doesn't know who you are remotely because of your LinkedIn page. And I was like, is that true? And then just this past week, I had a friend of mine, Joey Hall. By the way, Joey, I know you're listening. You need to come on my podcast. Joey Hall, come on my podcast. Um, but he told me that the guys out
Does
in,
that work?
I, I think so. I think it works. I talk to him all the time,
Okay.
but but he but
Joey,
he's
listening.
yeah, but he told me that like he's out east and a lot of people out there actually listen to my podcast. They know who I am. So point I'm making is you don't have to do what I'm telling you to go and do, but ultimately I think with your personality, with your charisma, with your experience, I think a lot of people would benefit from seeing your YouTube channel and seeing videos of people that you helped, or connecting with you on LinkedIn, right? And just getting to know you, getting to know your skill level. And who knows, it could open up other opportunities in your company now, or maybe in a different company later on because they saw you, right?
Right.
So, but anyways, that being said, Kayla, on YouTube, what's your YouTube channel? Is it still there, or did you get rid of it completely?
Um, it was Kayla the Car Girl,
Oh, that's cool. I like
and I
that
think she's
title.
still there. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the most views I had was when I was at Ford, and we had a
Okay.
Ford Raptor. That was such a fun video to do. Those are really nice cars, really nice trucks.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up on my
Sorry,
phone now.
Chevy.
Kayla the Car
What?
Girl. I'm looking up on my phone. Hold on.
I was gonna say there's a
Oh,
couple
I
of us,
found you.
and one of the Kayla the Car Girls is not super appropriate.
Let's see. That looks like you, right? Is that you?
Um, maybe. Oh
Kayla.
gosh, that's me.
You have more subscribers than me. What the heck, Kayla? You have 17. I've got 15. Okay, listen. I'm gonna give you a shout out.
Oh, so basically what you're saying is get back on there and kick your YouTube trash.
Okay, so there we go. See, now we have competition. Okay, subscribers, if you're listening to
Ooh,
the
I'm
show,
motivated now.
if you're listening to the show, go on YouTube right now. Type in Kayla, Kayla, the Car Girl, TheCarGirl. Subscribe, watch videos, like, comment. And if you guys enjoyed having Kayla on my show, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Ask questions and stuff. I'm sure that Kayla will be happy to reach out to you guys, especially if you're in the Idaho Falls or Eastern Idaho market and you want a vehicle and you want to go talk to somebody, go talk to Kayla at Smith Chevrolet. She's on LinkedIn as well, so connect on LinkedIn. Before we end the show, I'm going to give a huge shout out to LinkedIn real fast. I always say this at the end of my show. LinkedIn is not a sponsor of mine, so I get paid nothing for this. Although LinkedIn, if you want to pay me something, I'm not going to say no to that. But one of the crazy things about LinkedIn is that you can connect with people without the drama of Facebook. Okay, connect with them on a professional level, be visible. And I promise you guys, you post, you're active, you're passionate about the company that you work for, you post about the company that you work for, you will go further than someone that's not doing that because they'll think about you first. We're talking about dominating the market. So stop interviewing, start selling yourself. Kayla, thank you so much again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And I will be talking to you soon about that Chrysler Pacifica as long as it's still in your lot. If not, I'll drop by with the wife, the kids. We'll look around the lot again. We'll check and see if anything else is there. But again, thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I had a blast. This was fun.
Awesome. Me too. I'm glad we did this. So again, go to Kayla's YouTube page, watch her videos. Kayla, make more videos so people can see it. Okay.
I really need to get on there and get back to Chevys. We need to actually have new, thank you, COVID, we need new cars to actually show.
Exactly. Well, even used cars. There's a lot of people that are in the used car market, like myself. They want to go out and purchase used stuff. So don't be shy about putting that stuff on there too. Um,
Yeah, but it's more fun to show off the Chevys.
all right. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for listening. We're going to wrap up. Kayla, thank you again, and we'll talk to you guys later on.